Good morning, greetings, friends, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I specialize in using nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your vitality and health and well-being, and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body. You are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health issue. That's why we're here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 29 years of practicing pharmacy, I've seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, skin diseases, psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, acne, digestive ailments of all kinds, recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system. It's a regenerating system. It's a renewing system. And it's designed divinely to heal, renew, regenerate itself on a moment-to-moment basis. While some folks may call that a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about prescription drugs, health challenges you or a loved one may be dealing with, the longevity products, formulations, if you want to get off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we want to hear from you. 844-236-6010 is our number. Likewise, if you want to comment or if you have a success story you'd like to share, 844-236-6010 is our number today on The Bright Side and every day on The Bright Side. If you want to purchase any of the longevity products you hear advertised in the program, head over to brightsideben.com. You can order products right off the website. You can also go to my blog, pharmacistben.com and criticalhealthnews.com. Thank you to John T. Collier and Robert Lundgren for setting those up. You can also sign up to join the Brightside Ben team right off the website, or you can call the phone team, 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. You can also check out my Truth Treatments page, truthtreatments.com. That's my skincare blog. You can also head over to my Facebook page, The Truth with Ben. I post regularly on skincare subjects on both The Truth with Ben, that's the Facebook page, and truthtreatments.com. And you can also purchase skin health products off of truthtreatments.com. Take a look at our retinol 5% gel. Retinol 5% gel made with 5% vitamin A in its retinol form. Vitamin A is one of the big three ingredients. I call them the big three ingredients you need for your skin. Vitamin A, vitamin C, alpha hydroxy acids. The rest is baloney. Quote me. The rest is baloney. Some of it is actually toxic baloney. Some of it is inert baloney. Some of it is in vitro, in a test tube. It works in a test tube. That doesn't mean it's going to work on your skin. Vitamin A, vitamin C, alpha hydroxy acids, and that's it. And you know what? Vitamin A and vitamin C and alpha hydroxy acids, when used correctly, have something very interesting in common. They all have a degree of fat solubility. Now, alpha hydroxy acids, not so much, although some do, but certainly vitamin A does, and when vitamin C is used correctly, or when it's used in its correct form, it's going to be fat soluble. And understanding this distinction is one of the fundamental understandings of all of health and nutrition. And I know I got a little chemistry. I went a little chemistry on you guys yesterday, and I'll do a little bit today. But it's really important. It's not that complicated, really. But it's important because if we don't understand some of the basics about chemistry, we are going to be just grist for the corporatocracy mill, the pharmacracy mill. That is the world of pharmacy and money and bottom lines and corporations and formularies and HMOs and none of which has anything to do with our health, but has to do with enrichment and capitalism and making money. And not that there's anything wrong with those ideas, but when they're depending on our ignorance and utilizing or taking advantage of our ill health in order to be enriched, in order to be bottom line oriented, that's just not fair and that's not right. And so it depends, it's up to us to understand some of the very, very basics about chemistry. And one of the most basic ideas in all of chemistry is this idea of water soluble versus fat soluble. In the world of the skin, you got to have fat solubility if you have an active material. In the world of the body, there's understanding this distinction between fats and water, or fats and non-fats, if you will, is also important. We've been talking about the fatty hormones now for a couple of months probably. The steroid hormones, these are completely separate class of chemicals than the water-soluble hormones, peptide hormones, thyroid hormone, insulin. Those are water-soluble hormones. And how you operate and how you work with the insulin and how you work with thyroid hormone is different from how you work with your steroid hormones. Your steroid hormones, you got to be processing your fat. 100 million Americans have liver disease, but it's not just liver disease, it's fatty liver disease. That means it's a fat problem. This is what it means when healthcare professionals like myself, who talk about these alternative ideas in health, say things like, "My people perish for lack of knowledge," which comes from the Bible. My people perish for lack of knowledge. By not understanding how fatty liver disease is related to our menopausal symptoms, or how fatty liver disease is related to our lymphatic cancers, our breast cancer, or how fatty liver disease is related to our prostate, we don't address the causes of our problems. You can't address the prostate or breasts or any fatty system in the body unless you address the liver first. And if 100 million Americans have liver disease, that's not happening, clearly. Also, the liver is a digestive organ. It's a lot of things, but one of its main roles is a digestive organ. The liver is how the digestive system impacts the rest of the body. It's like the bridge between the digestive tract and the rest of the body. The liver processes sugar, so this is where the second point on the triangle of disease is. And the liver's fatty, and the liver processes fats. And liver disease is fatty liver disease. So understanding this distinction between fatty stuff and watery stuff, hydrophilic, lipophilic, is really, really important. It's not just, scientific stuff just to be scientific. What makes something a fat in the world of chemistry, what makes something fat soluble or oil soluble, is electricity, pieces of electricity. We call them electrons, which I hesitate to say because it sounds so technical, but it's just little chunks of electricity, little pieces of electricity. That's all they are, electrons. What makes something a fat is the electrons are distributed evenly. What makes something a non-fat is the electrons are pulled to one side. Some people say polar, non-polar. Fatty substances, because the stuff is distributed evenly, is not pulled. It's non-polar. In the world of nutrition, this polar and non-polar idea is incredibly important to take into account. That's because non-polar substances, i.e. fatty substances with their electrical energy evenly distributed, have more attachments, so they're sticky and they're harder to extract. They're much harder to get out of foods. Water-soluble nutrients, this is why the Beyond Tangy Tangerine is so cool. It's water-soluble. Boom, right to work. The fatty stuff, not so much. Fatties for long-term. Your fatty vitamins, your fatty hormones, phytonutrients, these are more long-term kinds of things because they're sticky, they're hard to get out of foods, they're hard to process in the body. The fact that they're hard to get out of foods has a tremendous, tremendous implication when it comes to aging as we get older, because as we get older, we don't extract our fats effectively, and this especially will show up in one of the most important fatty systems in the body, which is the skin. I can always tell when somebody's either not getting or not absorbing their fats by looking at their skin. The skin will be thinning. Thinning skin is a classic sign. Crepey skin, some people will call it, is a classic sign of either fat malabsorption or not getting enough fats. So understanding how to pull those fats out is really, really important. Some of the most important fats for anti-aging are pigments, as we said yesterday. That's why you always want to cook your Brussels sprouts and broccoli and tomatoes. If you're going to cook your tomatoes, you always want to use a little tiny bit of heat and a little tiny bit of butter or coconut oil to pull those fatty nutrients out of the broccoli and out of the Brussels sprouts, so they can go to your skin to prevent you from getting sunburn or photo damage or accelerated aging or hyperpigmentation or wrinkles, so they can go to your liver to protect your liver from fatty liver disease, to protect your liver and the rest of your body from lymphatic disease and cancer. Understanding how to pull those fats out of the Brussels sprouts and the vegetables can be really helpful as an anti-aging and as a beautification nutritional strategy. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away. We're back back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Got lines open for you, 844-236-6010. If we don't get calls here in our next segment, or in our second or third segment, third or fourth segment, we'll take letters. I got a whole bunch of good letters here that I've been meaning to get to. 844-236-6010 is our number if you want to give us a shout today. If you have a success story you'd like to share or contribute to the conversation, or if you have questions or concerns, health challenges, if you want to wean yourself off your meds, we can help you do that. 844-236-6010 is our number. And if you want to purchase any of the longevity products you hear advertised or recommended, you can call the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. All right, so we're talking about this whole idea of fats, solubility, fat-soluble, water-soluble. Flavor, by the way, tends to be fatty. Flavor substances tend to be fatty. Sweet substances tend to be watery. This is really important for cooks, for chefs. If you're baking, if you mix a little oil with chocolate, for example, makes the chocolate more chocolatey. The combination of sugar and chocolate and fat is pretty darn irresistible, and that's because all of the flavoring agents, the cocoa flavoring agents, come out in butter or come out in the fat. That's what chocolate is. Chocolate is kind of a blend of fat and cocoa and sugar. And it's not so much the cocoa that we like, it's the fat and the cocoa and the sugar. The fat has an ability to amplify flavors. Always mix a little bit of fat with your spices. If you're making your bone soup, take your spices and put them on the bottom of your pan when you start off, and then kind of braise them or heat them a little bit in butter. And that will release the flavoring agents out of the spices and make your soup much more spicy, or more flavorful, I should say. And we eat for flavor. That means we'll eat a lot less if we have more flavor. Increasing your flavor will allow you to decrease your calories without feeling restricted. So always mixing your flavorful food, flavorful foodstuffs or spicy foodstuffs with a little bit of butter. Again, understanding the nature of water-soluble versus fat-soluble allows you to be intuitive this way. This is what a good chemist is about. That's why a good chemist or somebody who understands chemistry can work with herbs, can work with drugs, can work with food, can work with skincare, can work with pretty much any chemistry, because if you understand these basic ideas about fat-soluble, for example, and water-soluble. So understanding fatty, if you understand the nature of fat-soluble, you'll be able to exploit the nutritional value of broccoli and Brussels sprouts and tomatoes and eggplant and all your veggies. And you'll be able to leverage the flavors in these foods as well. You'll be able to improve your eating experience. Understanding the fat-soluble nature of chemistry, of everything really, and the water-soluble nature of chemistry will allow you to take care of your mouth, oral health, something called oil pulling. Anybody hear oil pulling? It's very effective. I've heard people say that it doesn't work, but those are people that don't understand chemistry, because it is based in chemistry. Fatty substances have a different chemistry nature than watery substances, and when you use oil pulling techniques, you'll get rid of the fatty chemicals in the mouth. And those fatty chemicals, as it turns out, cause cavities. It's not the water chemicals that cause cavities. In your mouth, you have water-soluble stuff and fat-soluble stuff, just like in anywhere else. And the water-soluble material, that's not the problem, because saliva takes care of that. You spit that out. It's the fat-soluble stuff that's a problem when it comes to cavities, and, by the way, when it comes to gum disease. Gum disease is another big problem. According to a study published in the Journal of Dental Research, the official publication of the ADA, the American Dental Association, 1 out of every 2 Americans, 50% of us, over the age of 30 has gum disease. 50% of us. That's ridiculous. That is 160 million people have gum disease. And you can't tell me that we have that many people not brushing our teeth. We're all brushing our teeth. Most people brush their teeth, but still, 1 out of 2 of us have gum disease. Why is that? Well, it's because the bacteria are making fat-soluble stuff that doesn't come out when you brush your teeth, because like dissolves like. And toothpaste, although it does have soap in it, or that's what causes the foam, and that's the logic. It only goes so far. You need to have nonpolar or fatty to dissolve fatty, and that's where oil pulling comes in. Oil pulling is when you simply, it's I don't know why they call it oil pulling. Basically, it's just oil gargling, just rinsing your mouth with oil. And it's been used for centuries, probably for thousands of years. In India, they used to use sesame oil, and it's part of Ayurvedic medicine. Ayurvedic practitioners will talk about using sesame, brushing your tongue with sesame oil or gargling with sesame oil.